What up, YouTube? This is Steven, and welcome back. Alright, in this video, I want to talk about Amber Rose in the context of her responding to Kodak Black's comments that he made about, um, you know, what he likes and dislikes as far as women and skin tones are concerned. Alright. Um, you know, Amber Rose, she posted a comment, a very lengthy, long comment in response to this too. So I'm going to read through the comment, and as I read, I'm going to give my thoughts and opinions. All right. So let's begin. Let's get into this. All right. So Amber responds, shaking my head. This really makes me so sad. Okay. Why? Why does it make you sad, Amber? Being a quote unquote yellow bone, mixed, light skinned woman, I know unfortunately that modeling jobs, boys, and opportunities came to me easier, but did not realize that until I got older. Sometimes I kind of feel like some folks be kind of like low key bragging. And I think Amber might be one of these folks in this particular situation who might be kind of like low key bragging. Sometimes when I hear them like, "Oh yeah, I know that we're preferred," Um, let's see. Growing up in Philly, I went to an all-black school. I was the white girl, quote unquote, the one that the boys didn't like, the girl that wasn't as cool as the brown-skinned girls. Okay, that's a little strange because usually it seems like folks are usually up on colorism. Usually, not everybody, but a lot of people. So she's saying like, the boys didn't like her, and then the girls didn't like her. But then again, Amber, before she, started, went to, build a script of workshop, right, and bought her body, right. I guess maybe she didn't look as good. But yeah, she says she was the white girl. And also notice though, Amber has referred to herself as the white girl before in the media, right? At one point, she tried to say like, "Oh, I'm just a white girl," right? She thought she could like slide in and be white, but white folks were not gonna let her do that. All right, you ain't gonna be white and messing it up for the rest of them. Then she was like, "Oh, I'm mixed," right? At one point, she was saying she was black. I'm not sure if blackness came first and then mixed, or rather mixed then black. But at one point, she was saying she was mixed, right? Um, you know, I'm just a multiracial girl, you know. And then I think currently now she's trying to claim a black identity, which I just find that's why I give this whole situation and Amber Rose and this whole thing the side eye, really, because I'm like, okay, since when are you black? You know, like you decided to be black like a week ago, and now you're like, oh, I have all these experiences, all these black experiences, all of a sudden. Oh, you can be on light girls, right? You can date all these rappers, but and also have a connection to blackness, but not feel like you're black. Yeah, like when did this come about? Because Amber has been all over the place with her racial identity, right? Yeah, just that's why I can't totally take this seriously. Let's move on though. Let's see. Black was the thing to be, but for me, my mom was my only black parent, and I'm not quite sure if her mom even identifies as black though. Honestly. A lot of Cape Verdean people do not identify as black. And her mom is pretty light, right? And her mom married a white man who's, I believe, Italian, right? But okay. My dad was as white as snow and I came out just as light as him. Amber actually does look like she has like a skin tone to her, though. Like, I've seen white passing people before, but when I see Amber, I see kind of like a skin tone to her. Honestly, I don't think she's as light as her dad, unless maybe she's tanning or doing some type of spray on tans or something. I don't know. Makeup. I don't know. Amber goes on to say, I would lay out in the sun and try to get as dark as I could. I would look at all of the beautiful dark-skinned girls in my class and wish I could wear bright colored shirts like they did, but it never quite looked as good on my complexion. I don't know. I kind of give that whole situation the side eye too. But then again, she's like a young kid, so maybe she was on some like, oh, I want to wear bright colors too. But it seemingly just comes off as a little, I guess, like frivolous, something frivolous to think about. But then again, she was a kid, so maybe perhaps. Let's see. But the brown skinned girls would pick on me, pull my hair, and want to fight me for no reason. Alright, so at this point, especially at this point, but even before this point, notice though, a lot of this seems to be really self-centered, right? And seemingly she responded to this because she felt like this this was something what Kodak Black said triggered her, right? It triggered her supposedly on behalf of dark-skinned women, right? You know, so I find it a little strange that really, like, in the beginning of this, like the second sentence out, right? She's has totally just centered this around herself, right? She's going all through her experiences and this. I'm like, this ain't the time or place for that though, Amber. You're supposed to be for the dark skinned women, right? So you just need to stick to the topic of defending dark skinned women, checking Kodak Black, right? But now we're getting into this whole thing about, brown skinned girls would pick on me, pull my hair, and want to fight me for no reason. Why though? I love them. Are you sure, Amber? Because you've been flip flopping on your identity. You probably love the black men who put you on a pedestal and date you. You know, but let's go on. That's part of the reason why I can't. That's why I don't take this letter or whatever like 100% seriously. I think it may be some truth laced in this, but be very cautious. Like, be very discriminatory, of the folks in, who seemingly claim to be an ally. Be discriminatory about everybody, right? Give everybody, like, I guess, the third degree, right? Vet them, ultimately. Vet these people. Make sure they're really down for you, right? Because right now, it don't seem like Amber Rose really down, as she should be. Let's see. I love them. I wanted to be them. Little did I know, at such a young age, society was teaching them to hate me. No, they weren't. Society was not teaching them to hate you. They were teaching them to hate themselves. It's not about you, Amber. That's the thing. It's not about you. That's the thing. If you're going to be an ally, be an ally. Don't be like an ally, I guess, ally theater, and at the same time making this all about you. It's not about you though, Amber. That's the thing though. It's about the dark-skinned women who bear the brunt of this situation, this colorism, right? It's about the dark-skinned women Kodak Black may have offended, right? Granted, many dark-skinned women are like just like whatever, but still, the point was to come to dark-skinned women's defense, or at least it should be. That should be the point. Society was telling these girls that they weren't as beautiful as me because of their complexion. Again, with this me thing, right? And again, low-key bragging, right? I think this might be kind of like low-key bragging, you know. They were too strong and too outspoken. It was okay for men to have sex with them behind closed doors, but not okay for them to have them on their arm. All right, so at this point, it's changed from low-key bragging to perhaps even low-key firing shots, like firing shots on the low, you know, because as we do see brown skinned and dark skinned women with black men openly, we do, you know. The way she puts it, it seems like it's just like the brown skinned and dark skinned women are just like the dirty, like a dirty little secret that, you know, no one wants to claim them, you know. Let's see. Let's see. As if light skinned girls were some type of a trophy for a man. It was a status, or it was a social status. Shaking my head. All right. Again, low key bragging. I'm sensing this. I could be wrong, but this is something that you kind of need to be on the lookout for too, especially the darker skinned women. Um, when folks claiming to be advocates, claiming to be allies, come to the, supposedly coming to the defense, speaking out on something, you know, think about it. Let's see. Insinuating that he had money or he just had a bad bitch, quote unquote. you know, I wanted to be them and they wanted to be me, you know. Here's the thing with that, all right? I think this is something that is very overlooked, not addressed, and oftentimes I can understand some darker skinned women. Yeah, I can definitely understand their frustration with this. Let me put it like this. All right. Darker skinned women are fine with being dark skinned, right? It's not that they don't like or love their dark skin. It's that they don't like and love the way that they are treated because of their dark skin. That's the difference, right? Oftentimes when we get into these conversations, they're like, oh, these dark skinned women want to be light skinned women. Oh, they just jealous. This, that, and the third, right? But it's not that they want to be the light skinned women. It's just that they kind of just want to perhaps be treated like them, be acknowledged like them, be put on the pedestal like them, right? While still maintaining their light or their dark skin, all right? Because honestly, before society told them that something was wrong with their dark skin, they probably weren't feeling that way, right? But the dark skinned women don't get the validation in the media. They don't get the validation from the community as well, whether outside or inside the community, our society, right? They tend not to get that validation or as much as they should. Because, there are people who do validate dark skin, women's beauty, and all that good stuff. There are. But they just don't get it as much as other groups of women do, right? And also, they have to deal with, their own men, their dark skinned male counterparts having, you know, a type of aversion to them at times, You know, they didn't think there was anything wrong with being dark skinned until society told them that there was something wrong with being dark skinned, right? And society sent them messages to the point where they kind of know where they rank, quote unquote, know how things are, quote unquote. They know how the system works in regards to dark skin, you know? So to bring it back, the dark skinned women, by and large, do not want to actually be lighter skinned, right? They just want to be treated as perhaps a lighter skinned woman, or other groups of women are treated, and they don't want to be treated negatively because of their dark skin, right? That's ultimately where it's at with dark skinned women. At least I think where it's at. I could be wrong, but that's where I think that ultimately the dark skinned women are coming from, right? You know, and of course, some dark skinned women will perhaps get to the point where perhaps they may, a few at least, may resort to perhaps bleaching, skin bleaching, wearing makeup to make themselves look lighter, even changing their hair color to sort of offset their dark skin, changing their hair texture as well, really participating in the beauty, culture, um, to sort of, quote unquote, offset dark skin, their dark skin, right? Perhaps, having some features that are perhaps not associated with dark skinned women, and, you know, acquiring those features so that, they can kind of perhaps navigate the beauty hierarchy a little better, you know. Um, but let's move on to the next. Let's see. Getting older, I found myself always battling racism and feminism, asking directors why isn't there any dark-skinned girls in the music videos I was featured in. Okay, I really don't believe that, Amber. Do you guys really believe that Amber was on set of these music videos that she was in? Yeah? Where are the dark-skinned girls at? I don't even think she asked that question to herself, let alone to the directors. I think she was just like, hey, I'm here, film me, pay me some money, For some reason, I don't believe that. I don't buy that. This is the same girl who kind of just flip flops on her racial identity. So if she's not really set in a racial identity, why would she care about darker skinned women in this, especially in this situation where they could potentially possibly take her place, right? She could be replaced and put in with a darker skinned woman. So why would she be like that? I just don't think this rings true. I could be wrong, but I really don't think this rings true. I really think that she is just saying this just to sound good, right? Based on the actions that I've seen from Amber Rose, I really don't think she was like that, light-skinned ally as she's claiming to be, or as she's trying to present herself, to be. Let's see. Next. Even when I was a stripper, maybe there were one or two brown-skinned girls that would get hired because they didn't want the club to be too black. So I guess Amber was stripping at, I guess, perhaps, I don't know where she was stripping at. I really don't care. But she said that she had noticed that, they wouldn't hire like a lot of brown skinned women to be strippers because they didn't want the club to be too black, right? But so I'm guessing now she's saying that she cares about that, but I think when it actually happened, I don't think she was really concerned about it, I know we all have our moments where we kind of like wake up and come to our realization and things like that, and perhaps want to try and make amends and all that good stuff. But I just don't see it with Amber here, She's gonna have to put in a lot more work than this, honestly, if she want folks to be considering her a light-skinned ally in the war against colorism, and to be, for dark-skinned women, right? And if she truly is that, it will come to light, right? You will see it in her actions in the future if she truly feels that way, right? But for right now, I don't see it. Next, I can't help that. I can't help that I was born with light skin, but I am a woman before anything else. How many times was I and me used in this article? I, me, and perhaps a we, but I and me definitely, right? This is so like self-centered and self-absorbed. A lot of this, like, pretty much the bulk of this article, if not the whole thing, was about her when it was supposed to be about dark-skinned women, not her. I can understand. I can understand perhaps wanting to like maybe present an aspect of your experience to perhaps feel like, oh, I can sort of empathize where you're coming from, where some dark skinned women are coming from when they feel this type of way. But this whole article is pretty much just about just light skin, biracial, mulatto tears. It's just like, you know, we don't need these tears right now. We don't need these light-skinned biracial tears now, Amber. Not now. This isn't the time or place for that. Let's see. And also, again, as some other folks mentioned, she's trying to turn this into a feminism thing. But this is about black women, specifically dark-skinned black women. This is about black dark-skinned black women specifically. We can't turn this into a women's issue, because when we do that, it sort of derails the whole conversation, and it takes away the focus from the dark-skinned women who need the focus. Like, this is part of the problem. Dark-skinned women are not being focused on. This is part of the reason that many dark-skinned women feel the way that they do. Perhaps this is part of the reason why people feel like some dark-skinned women have quote-unquote bad attitudes, right? Have a chip on their shoulder, right? Bitter, jealous, resentful, all those things that often, all those words and adjectives that often come up when dark-skinned women speak on stuff, speak on situations like these, right? Let's see. We need to stick together as women and educate society. Educate men like this with black mothers. All right. So yeah, Amber Rose has turned from light-skinned ally to light-skinned feminazi. Light-skinned feminist. All right. I'm like, you should know, like, feminism, at least the mainstream feminism, does not apply to black women, especially dark-skinned black women. It does not apply. All right. They are not checking for black women at all, Amber. All right. Just in case you ain't know that, you know it now. All right. How many times have feminism, or feminists, these mainstream white feminists, reminded black women that feminism does not apply to them, right? They have reminded them plenty of times. All right. Let's see. Not let men / people dictate what type of woman is in style or more beautiful. All right. So she's saying we need to educate these men so that they don't be dictating what type of woman is in style and more beautiful. You know. No matter where we come from or what complexion we are, if no one tells you you're beautiful, I'm here to tell you that you are. And then she had posted an emoji that's like looking with like the hearts in the eye, like that. Let's change the stigma. I love you all. Muva. I guess mother. I don't know. MUVA. All right. And there's some comments too that I should probably read too. I guess one person posted a comment in Arabic, which I'll translate for you guys. All right. So this comment says in Arabic that, Amber, please spare us your light skin tears. All right. Next comment. I'm crying. So I'm guessing this person believed her story or whatever, or bought it. Another person posted, fake story. I wish it were true. Uh, Next post. Boy got different taste buds. That's all. If he don't like dark chocolate, more for us. I can't force someone to eat what they don't like. All right. So this person is just clearly missing the point. Okay, again, it gets to this point now, when dark-skinned men, especially, want to avoid the conversations of colorism. It's a preference, right? That's the go-to, right? It's a preference, right? Or either colorism is an ugly girl's argument, right? Because all women can get men. And, to an extent, that is true. All women can get men, all women can get, some stick, right? They can, but it's more to it than that, though. It's more to it than that. When you put it like that, it just makes it too simplified for an issue that's very nuanced and complicated. Let's see. Next post. You can't really expect good character traits or high IQ from this dude, though. Please, ladies, don't let this Neanderthal decide your worth. I agree. He probably don't even know that skin doesn't define a person. It's sickening. Right. And another person posted, I love you, Amber. Next, let's not ignore the fact that he said light girls are easier to break down. What the F? WTF. Laugh my ass off. Why you trying to break any woman down? Good point. And I think that was sort of overlooked too. I'm glad that this user brought that up. And especially for the light-skinned girls who may be getting gassed up by what Kodak Black is saying. Like, I think he views light-skinned women again as being like weak, right? Because oftentimes we associate light skin with like being, I guess, weaker than dark skin, right? And it especially comes into play when it's like men, when it comes to the men, right? With the women, not as much, but it comes into play too, though. With women, though, he feels like why do you? That's a good point. Why do you feel the need to break this woman down, right? What you trying to do when you break her down? Is it like a mental breakdown, like trying to like break her down mentally so that you can like manipulate her, like like what's the aim with that, right? Next, the only thing offensive in his statement is light-skinned women you can break them down easier. I actually find it flattering when he said darker-skinned women are tough, and I'm glad that he knows to leave us alone. His statement is false, though. There is no shade to strength. Good comment. I really agree with that. At least the dark skinned women got that going for them, right? Like they know not to bring that bullshit over to you. Shit, dark skinned women ain't going for that shit, and I don't think the light skinned women should be going for it either. You know, but there's gonna be some light skinned women who gonna go for it because they're gonna get gassed up because they probably basic or mediocre, especially the basic or mediocre ones. They're gonna get gassed up by be happy to be put on the pedestal, probably getting a couple of bucks thrown their way, and go support that foolishness, right? Support that buffoonery, that fuckery, right? Let's see. She's not light skinned. You're mixed, Amber. Let's see. I guess you can be both. Can you? I think you can be both, but sometimes it is a difference between being, a light-skinned black person and being a mixed race / biracial person who identifies as black. There's a difference, though. All right, let's see. That was beautiful at Amber, but whatever woman that I have him can have him. Let's see. Somebody posted, this is the most poignant and honest opinion on the subject matter I've ever heard. I appreciate you recognizing the disparity between skin complexions among black women. Ignorance is a lack of experience, and I tip my hat off to you in using your experience and platform to bring light to colorism among black women. Salute to mother. They done like sip, gargle, just totally drunk this Kool-Aid. Even though you ain't noticed that this whole post centered around Amber Rose and hardly mentioned actually like dark skinned, brown skinned women that much. I mean, she mentioned them in the sense of like, oh, they picked on me. Oh, they get overlooked. Like I don't know. It's just I wasn't feeling it. So those are pretty much the comments. You know. So that's pretty much all I have to say, you guys. Ultimately, I just don't think this rings true. I don't buy Amber Rose wanting to be a light-skinned or biracial ally for dark-skinned women in the war against colorism. I don't buy that, all right? And I don't think you should either. I think if Amber Rose is truly, truly sincere about wanting to, legitimately be an advocate and ally for dark-skinned women, we will see. Keep tabs on her. See what happens in the future, right? See when things like this come up in the future. Let's see how things go down. All right. And as well, I think dark skin. I think people in general. I think the black community in general. We just need to really vet our allies. We need to vet them, right, and make sure they're really all that they claim to be, right? And not fall for the okie doke again and again and again and again, right? We can't keep falling for that, right? But especially for dark skinned women, vet Amber, vet other folks, heck, vet me, make sure I'm on the up and up, make sure anyone who claims to be down for you, vet them, all right? It shouldn't have to be like that, especially for folks in the community already. It shouldn't have to be like that. But, hey, better safe than sorry. you see what folks are about, you know. So, I guess that's all I have to say. I think I meant to make this video shorter than what it was, but yeah, as you can see, it went on for longer than I thought it would. So, thanks a lot for watching if you watched to the end. I really appreciate that, and I hope you enjoyed it. So, thanks a lot. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now.